Welcome to Monster Territory, ladies and gentlemen. It is a sad time right now in Boston. It is not a good time right now. We had a great day today at Fenway Fest. Lots of energy, lots of good vibes. People, for the most part, just feeling happy, feeling great. And now we're going to bed the complete opposite. Alex Bregman, go to the Chicago Cubs. I'm not happy about this at all. I'm not. I have been very open about how I feel about Alex Bregman on the Red Sox. I'll say it one more time. He was a perfect fit both on and off the field. He checked off all the boxes. He was great with his performance, both offensively and defensively. Great in the clubhouse, great with the young guys as well. I talked with Roman Anthony, with all of the rest of the media today at Fenway Fest, and Roman was glowing about Bregman. Like, you could fully see the impact that Bregman had on Roman. There was definitely a big deal going on there, and he brought a lot to this organization. I'm upset for, again, I don't like to react emotionally. That's not the way I like to go about things in life in general. But I'll be honest here, I am a little upset about it, because this to me is a guy where I understand guys in their 30s, they tend to wear down a little bit more, right? They start to show that age as they start getting into their mid-30s. They start to wear down. You start to get more injuries. Bregman did have the quad injury this past year. Who knows if that was a sign of things to come? It very well could be. But to me, when the Cubs are signing him at a 175, who knows? I don't know if there's any deferred money in that going on. It kind of just makes me think, what was this aggressive offer for the Red Sox? What was the, what was it? Was it 5 years? Did they lose out on the money, or did they lose out on the years? I don't know. Did they, Pete Alonso, they offered 3 years. He ended up getting 5. Did they offer a 3-year deal for Bregman? Did they offer him some kind of an aggressive 3-year offer with like options or something like that? I think it's going to be interesting to see what comes out from that, because this does have implications here, right? Because when I'm speaking about the contract offer, what is this contract offer? Because that makes me wonder what is going to be something they're comfortable offering to the other guys on the market. I mean, I'm going to go over a few other possibilities here. We all know the main one, and that's Bo Bichette. If they weren't willing to go 175 for Bregman, well, how far are they willing to go for Bo Bichette, who is about 4 years younger? He's going to have an excellent bat, a bit of a question mark defensively. You don't know what's really going to be the best home for him. Is it going to be second base? I would think that could be more of the easier transition, or does he move over to third base? I think you could go either way. Marcelo Meyer plays the other position. But I don't even know, is it worth talking about Bo Bichette? Because I don't know how far the Red Sox are willing to go. Now, the one argument for Bo is, let me share my screen here. The one thing that keeps giving me a little bit of hope with Bo is the fact that he is under 30 years old. The Red Sox historically, when they have given out the bigger contracts, they have given out them, to the guys, in their 30s, but they always have felt a bit more comfortable with guys that are under 30. They already had a Zoom meeting with Bo Bichette this offseason. So I am holding out a little bit of hope, but it's with extreme caution. And then you got this other wrinkle with the Philadelphia Phillies, right? The Phillies, we just talked about them on last night's show. How aggressive are they going to be? They seem to be dominating the news here with Bo. But you got a two-headed monster over there in Philly with Dave Dombrowski and the owner, John Middleton. Two guys that want to win championships. Two guys that are relentless when it comes to spending money. I mean, I know they got a lot of big contracts on the books, so that kind of makes me wonder. I talked about this last night as well. There is a bit of pause, in my opinion, when it comes to the Phillies, because they already have so many long-term contracts on the books. I'm not sure what their game plan is. I don't know. I'm not in the Phillies front office. I couldn't tell you. But it's Dave Dombrowski at the end of the day. He can, if he wants to get Bo on like a 7-year, 8-year deal, and if there is a man that can convince an owner of adding on another contract like that, it's Dave Dombrowski. So I'm not sure what to think here. I really don't. I would love to say, yeah, Bo Bichette, he's the guy. We're going after Bo, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we're doing. That's the pivot. I don't want to say that. I would love it to be, but I don't know if that's reality. Because I don't know what the Red Sox are comfortable with. If they weren't going to be willing to go 5-175, well, okay, are they going to get aggressive for a guy under 30? I don't know. I wish I could give you the answer. But Bo does seem like the clear-cut next option for the Red Sox here. But that could be wishful thinking. That could just be hopeism on my end. That could be me coping. It very well could be. I'm not going to sit here and BS you. I don't know what the Red Sox are going to do. I really don't. I would like to think that, okay, yeah, Bregman, all right, it's not happening now. I thought it was a no-brainer. But this is the next no-brainer. I just don't know if they're going to be willing to commit financially. I don't know, especially when you get a team like the Phillies. You got, the Dodgers, they've been kind of painted out there as a possible landing spot. The Yankees have been involved in somewhat, I don't know how involved they are. The Blue Jays, you could still see a return home, I think. But we'll see here. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Not exactly sure what to think. Let me know what you think down below in the chat. I see a lot of you here joining us. Thank you for joining me here tonight. I am in the hotel still. I am flying out at 6:30 tomorrow morning. So I am already just lacking on sleep. I'm probably only going to get a few hours of sleep because I'm probably going to record a video here for the main channel. So who knows if I'm even going to sleep tonight. But with Alex Bregman, also, I forgot to show the original tweet. John Heyman was the one to break it. What do you know? John Heyman with another Scott Boras report. Another Scott Boras client that he's reporting on it. He can't get away from the allegations, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, great for the Cubs here. This is a good winning move for them. This is a team that is very much in contention right now. Losing Kyle Tucker, they made the good pivot. They did exactly what they needed to do. Now, if not Bo Bichette. Now, here's the thing. I'm gonna point this out too. So with Bo Bichette, today at Fenway Fest, the one thing that jumped out to me, we're gonna be doing a live show tomorrow night. I'm gonna give you all of my reactions to Fenway Fest, to all of the quotes that we got, and of course, we'll end up talking about this a little bit more. But with Bichette, if you take a look at the StatCast numbers, today, when I was able to get in a few questions for Craig Breslow, one thing that stuck out to me is because I said, hey, the original plan coming into the offseason was to add some power. Well, that, Schwarber Alonso ended up not happening. So I said, okay, well, you went to Wilson Contreras. What is your offensive philosophy for 2026? And Craig Breslow said he wants like a power feel where he emphasized guys that hit the ball hard. Right, so if I'm looking at Bo Bichette, well, I'm seeing a lot of hard hit percentage from this past year, good sweet spot percentage, average exit velo looking pretty good. Barrels could be a little bit better, but he fits the category of a guy that hits the crap out of the ball. Bo Bichette's a very good hitter, right? He does well against all pitches, fastball, off-speed, breaking pitches as well. The only issue with him is the defense, right? Where is he going to be defensively? But again, does all of this matter if they're not going to commit financially? I'm not so sure. I'll be honest with you. I can't help but think of Eugenio Suarez here. I'm not a big fan of this, to be honest with you. But I also think back to something else Craig said today. He said they struck out a lot last year. So that does make me wonder, right, if you go back to Bo Bichette, Bo Bichette, he did a great job at limiting the strikeouts last year. He puts the ball in play. Doesn't walk a whole lot. But that's where, once Bregman signed, I'm like, oh man, is Suarez going to be the answer? Is he going to be the option, right? Probably going to be a shorter term deal. You kind of wonder. I think he could be possible, but yes, with Suarez, he's going to hit the ball very hard. He's going to give you a lot of power. 49 home runs last year, 526 on the slugging, but the 125 WRC plus, that's leaving a little bit to be desired for me for a guy that has so much power. He only had a 298 on base. I mean, the guy struck out 30% of the time last year, so you kind of wonder if I'm looking at StatCast here, right? Right. So Craig said today he wants guys that can hit the ball hard, but he also wants to cut down on the strikeouts. Well, you got to kind of pick here if you're going to go. If Suarez is going to be the guy, well, yeah, he hits the ball hard, but you're going to get a lot of strikeouts. So with him, it's one or the other, right? So that's kind of where I think back to Bo, in my opinion. Now, I'm sorry to do this again. I mean, listen, Nolan Arenado, I don't want this. I was open to the idea last year if Bregman ended up going somewhere else, but after another down year offensively, I'm not in on Nolan Arenado. They've been making the trades with the Cardinals this offseason. I don't see Arenado being a pivot. Now, could Brendan Donovan be an option? Listen, I'm a big fan of Donovan. I think he's a very good hitter. He plays multiple positions, which for the Red Sox, that's something that could end up working in their favor. With Donovan, though, the problem is he's going to be a guy he's going to put the bat on the ball. He's going to have very good plate discipline. He's not going to strike out a whole lot, not a lot of swing and miss, high contact kind of a guy, but not a lot of exit velo. All right, more of middle of the road when it comes to the exit velo. So once again, getting back to what Craig said, that isn't exactly the hard-hitting kind of a guy, right? Who knows? Maybe they feel like there could be some upside, but are you going to make another trade here? And for Donovan, he's going to be expensive. So, yes, for Sonny Gray, Wilson Contreras, they gave up Richard Fitz, Hunter Dobbins, a couple of prospects in there as well. And, for Johan Oviedo, they gave up Joe Stinson Garcia. So, they have been getting rid of some depth. So they've cut into that depth quite a bit. So for Donovan, you are going to have to give up some upper prospects. And Heim is going to put a high price on him, as he should. He's got 2 years of control left. He's a very productive player. So I don't know about Donovan. I wonder if that's going to end up being a little too uncomfortable. I just did a live stream a second ago. Someone actually suggested the idea of Nico Hoerner, right? Because if you look at it from the Cubs' point of view, well, the Cubs, what's going to happen there? So Nico Hoerner is a free agent after next year. So are they going to move him in a trade, and then they could put Shaw over at second base? Or does Shaw go into more of a utility role? Do they move Matt Shaw? I don't know. I guess you could say Hoerner could be a possibility. I would say no on this one. I think personally, when it comes to Hoerner, because he only has 1 year of control left, I don't see that happening. I think the Red Sox would like to get someone that they have for the long haul. So again, I'll say it one more time. If I'm thinking about what Craig said here today at Fenway Fest, he wants guys that hit the ball hard and guys that don't strike out. Well, there's your guy, ladies and gentlemen, Bo Bichette. Again, it comes down to the contract. He makes sense. He does. He makes a lot of sense. And they had that Zoom meeting with him earlier in the offseason. And I'll say this, go back to Bregman and the Cubs. Go back to the early part of the offseason. We got a report that the Bregman and the Cubs had a Zoom meeting. So the Red Sox, they had a Zoom meeting with Bo. Maybe that's a guy they thought, okay, we can look at these, we could try with Bregman, we can try with Alonso, we can try with Schwarber, but if those guys don't work out and Bo is still on the board, well, then they could pivot back. Well, what do you know, ladies and gentlemen? He is still on the board. He is still out there. I think you have to make this move. Now, I will say this. I'm not happy about this. I'm not. I will feel a lot better if you bring in Bo. I will. I will feel a lot better about that. But I'm not happy about this. I'm not, because Bregman, I thought, brought so much to the table. I think he was kind of just a good veteran guy. I will say this, though. If you're looking at it from an age point of view, you know, with all these young guys that are coming up with the Red Sox now, I would say Bo fits more into the timeline. If there is one advantage that Bo has, like a clear, you know, not just saying the age, but also the fact that his age does kind of fit a little more with this team. I liked the idea of Bregman being that vet guy, been there, done that, won championships, winning player, right? I love the idea of him with all of these younger guys coming up, right? But if you are looking at it from a competitive window point of view where guys can grow with each other and they're still going to be in their younger years, Bo makes sense. He does. He does have that advantage over Bregman. Again, the age, right? You know, historically, guys at his age, they're not going to have as many injuries. But that's another thing with Bo, too. He's had some injuries. Could that end up, you know, knocking down the price for him a little bit? Maybe. Maybe that's something the Red Sox see. Like, okay, well, hey, he's had some injuries, so, you know, that's got to knock off a couple of bucks. I don't know. Maybe that's the way they think about it. But he has had some injuries. He has been a bit injury prone, right? 2024, he was dealing with a whole lot of stuff. This past, right in the offseason, going into the postseason, had a knee injury, came back in the World Series, played second base. He looked fine. Right, so I feel like he's going to be okay. To me, it's Bo Bichette or bust. I don't think Marte is going to be an option now. I think that's completely off the board. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, but at this point, if the Diamondbacks didn't get Bregman, then are they going to move Marte at this point? Why would they move Marte? Why? I mean, you were losing one of the best bats in the game. It's simple as that. You're not going to be able to replace that, especially on the contract that he's on. You can't replace that. So I don't see the D-backs absolutely not moving Marte. I know Rosenthal put it out there the other day that Marte's not going anywhere, but you still see people out there saying, oh, well, they're just saying that. That's not true. No, I don't think he's going anywhere at this point. I don't see it. I think Bo's the guy. Let's see what you all got here in the chat. Man, oh man. What do we got? I think we had a super chat here. Let me pull this up. Oh man, I am sad, ladies and gentlemen. Glennial, what's going on, my friend? Isaac Paredes, maybe we can pull up Paredes here. Let's take a look. Hold on a second. Yeah, he has been an option that's popped up, and you know the Astros. You know, you could make the argument that they could move someone, but in my opinion, I feel like if you're going to move anyone, I think you try to move Christian Walker. That's kind of the way I see it. So if you're looking at Paredes here, again, I'm sorry to keep circling back to what Craig said here today. Wants guys to hit the ball hard. Now, Paredes, you know, maybe, you know, with his swing profile, he pulls the ball more. He could fit at Fenway Park. He just doesn't hit the ball that hard, you know. But he doesn't really strike out. He walks a very good amount. He's very disciplined at the plate. I mean, could he be an option? I mean, sure. I would like to think the Astros would like to hang on to him. I think because it's like, why would you trade him? He fits Houston so well, and I mean, they've already made some moves here, bringing in Tatsuya Imai, right? They brought in Mike Burrows of the Pirates, right? So, you know, if you could have made the argument before, like, okay, they can trade Paredes, you know, for some pitching, you know, but it's like at this point, well, they've added some pitching now. So why move him? I just think he's a very productive player for them. I don't see why the Astros would move him. I mean, if he's available, I'm not completely opposed to it. It's not my top option. I don't know. You know, he also missed some time this year. He had an injury this year. What was it? The hamstring injury. But to me, I'm not a big fan of the defense at third base. I think I think he probably fits a little bit better over at first base. You know, if you take a look at the numbers last year defensively, you know, very low with the range, very low with the arm strength. I'd actually be more willing to play Bo at third base. You know, I'd rather actually see what he could do there. You know, I think you could make that argument with Bo because, you know, he really lacks that range. With Paredes, he's lacked the range at third, but with Bichette, he's lacked the range at short. So could that transfer over a little bit better? You know, I don't know. I'm not so sure if that could transfer over better at third base. I mean, maybe. I don't know. But then, you know, Marcelo Meyer, he's also shown what he can do defensively there. But I'll circle back one more time. I don't know if the Red Sox are going to commit. They're not really giving me a whole lot of confidence. You know, I could look back, historically at, you know, yes, they have been more comfortable giving contracts out to guys that are younger. You just obviously saw it with two very young guys this past year. You saw it with Crochet. Those are all recent examples, right? But, you know, go back further, you know, they've gone longer with some young guys, right? Younger guys, I mean. So, I don't know. I do hope Bo is the guy. I do hope. It's very sad not having Bregman coming back. To me, it kind of just felt like last year, it just felt like you started something. It felt like the first chapter in this next window of competitive Red Sox baseball. And it just feels, it's a very weird feeling. It's just like, I don't know. I'm just going to like think back and be like, what was the point? You know, what was the reason for it? Why did we even bring him in the first place? You know, I mean, maybe that answer will reveal itself at some point, but you kind of feel like that right now. Like, okay, it was great for a year. You know, yes, he did miss some time. You also wonder too, would things be different if he didn't get hurt? I don't know. I wonder if maybe that put some pause, and I wonder if even like John Henry thought, oh, see, this is what happens. You know, when you give a guy in their 30s contract that's a big contract, they just get hurt. So you kind of wonder. I almost wonder if Henry was just like, nope, this is as far as you're going. You know, I don't know. Kind of wonder about that, but it does feel weird. I don't want to say like what's the point, but you almost kind of want to say what was the point. You had him for a year, so I don't know. I mean, hey, if you look back on this and say, hey, Bregman had him for that 1 year. He was great for the young guys, really helped Roman establish himself a little bit more, helped him get, Roman talked about this today with Bregman, saying he really helped him dial in preparation, right? Getting ready for the game, you know? And you kind of look back, could Bregman be a guy that ended up being vital for the career of Roman Anthony, who could be, who knows, maybe one of the next Red Sox greats? Very early to say that, not very fair, but we all know how good that guy can be. So, it's going to be interesting looking back, 10 years from now. Kind of like, you look back like David Price, right? Like, oh, David Price. Long-term deal, but he helped us win a World Series. So you could say, like, all right, spent a lot of money, but at least he helped with that. All right. But like with Bregman, it's like you bring him in, he played there for a year, and then you got to a wild card game or a wild card series, and then he's just gone. It's a very empty feeling. It's very weird. I don't know though. I don't know. Let's see what you all got going on in the chat here. I'm not going to stick around too long because I'm going to be working on a video about Bregman. And I got a freaking flight in about 6.5 hours. So, what do we got here in the chat? I'm not sure what everyone is saying here. E-Burns, Devers money plus Bregman money plus Penguins money equals Arenado and more yachts for John Henry. You know, that's something, the Red Sox are going to get hit hard for this if they don't sign Bo. If they don't sign Bo, they're going to get hit hard. They're going to hit, it's going to be bad because you move Devers. I'm still going to give them the benefit of the doubt because you still could make a move, right? But if that doesn't happen, I don't know. I don't know, man. Ryan, what do we got here? Ryan, if the Cubs had any decency, they would just give us Matt Shaw for future considerations. Hey, Matt Shaw, I believe he was on the Red Sox radar. That's not going to happen, though. MLB Channel, Bo wants $300 million. Well, you could want one thing. That doesn't mean you're going to get it. So I don't think Bo is getting $300 million. Green Monster, sign Suarez and hope for the best, if not Bo. Ugh. It's so funny, man, because like I love the power, but I just don't want more strikeouts. I just don't want it. Tim, you guys will be fine. Just bring back Justin Turner. Is Turner still available? Phoenix, Bo will get 220. I think that's right. I think something in like the lower 200s. That probably sounds about right. Jake R, a Yoan Moncada reunion. I don't see that. AJ, do we know what the Red Sox offered? I don't know. Have we got any reports? I'm not so sure. I don't know. I mean, has anyone... Let me see if Cotillo has put anything out there. Cotillo is usually on top of all this. What do we got here? I'm going to go through... Let's actually pull up Cotillo here on Twitter, and then we'll start wrapping things up after that. I don't want to keep this episode dragging on too long, but I'm always interested in what Cotillo has to say. Let's see. Oh, hold on. Cotillo's got something for us here. Okay. All right, so he reacted with, wow. Bregman was a one-year wonder. The Red Sox are... Why is this giving me issues? Hold on a second. The Red Sox are said to have been willing to go 5 years for Bregman. They were outbid by the Cubs at that 175 mark. So this came down to money. This came down to money. What else has he got? Chris Cotillo, he did ask Bregman this question earlier on in the year, that there was not going to be a hometown discount. Bregman is ready and willing to open extension talks at any time. He says it's a very high priority to get a deal done somewhere he can call home for the rest of his career. But yeah, but that's the big news, that the Red Sox, it looked like they were willing to go 5, but they weren't going to go 175. Let's see. Cotillo here, the relitigation of all things Rafael Devers should be top of mind discussion tomorrow. Red Sox fans, they're going to be the ones that have already gone to bed. Oh, can you imagine what's going to happen when they wake up tomorrow? Chris Cotillo, it is also instructive to think back on that months-long smoke and mirrors game in which Arizona, Toronto, and Boston each seemed at times like locks for Bregman based on the flavor of the day. You know, I was told, conflicting reports of the D-backs. I'll say this, though. Hold on a second. I'm going to go back to this. Hold on. I'm going to pull up a tweet that I put out a little while ago. Hold on, I'm going to show you it. I'm going to show you. Hold on, I don't know if I can find it right now. I might not be able to find it. I don't know how to search for it on here. I don't know how to search for it on the web browser. But I put out a tweet. I replied to someone and I said, I have my eyes on the Cubs. I felt like pretty weird about the Cubs the entire time. You all know I said that. I said that about the Cubs. Go back into the old streams. I was saying that. Because I was told, again, it's more, it's not really like I heard anything numbers-wise or whatever. I was just told multiple times the Cubs love Bregman. And in the end, they loved Bregman more than the Red Sox did. It is what it is. The Red Sox have to pivot. They got to make a move. I think they got to get Bo. If they don't get Bo Bichette, they're in trouble. They're in trouble. But we'll see what happens. Everybody, I'm going to wrap it up right there. Great stream here. Numbers-wise, about 500 of you in the chat right now. That's definitely a high. That might actually be more than what we had for the Bregman stream last year, I think. So, funny enough, the stream where we react to him leaving, there's more of you here. So, funny how life is. But bummer of an ending here today. Great time at Fenway Fest. It was unbelievable. Time of my life at Fenway Fest today. Unbelievable experience. I got to meet a few of you out there. It was awesome. Very cool. Got a picture in front of the Green Monster at the end of it. Just absolute dream, man. Was able to be in a Boston media scrum for the first time. Asking questions left and right for all these different players, coaches, executives. I'm very honored to be able to have been a part of that. So, but this was not how I wanted to end the day. I was about to go to sleep, to be honest with you. Now I'm wide awake. So, everybody, I'm going to wrap it up right there. If you come on the way out, hit the like button for me. That's all I ask. And if you are new, if you are just finding us for the first time, hit that subscribe button, and I'll talk to you next time.